Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Friday, March the 3rd. The year's 2023. Let's talk trading. It's time for the weekly wrap-up. As always, these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. So let's take a quick look here at the weekly chart. We are 53 pips above the weekly open on the pound dollar. We are 147 off the high, 74 off the low, and we're getting a high touch alert on H1 there, and all the gaps have filled. I'm going to blow through the charts because I'm going to come back through a second time because a good buddy of mine, Freddie, shout out to Freddie, says he only trades the euro, so we're going to go through and look at the euro dollar also. And the opening range, really interesting here. You see we opened at 1945. We actually crossed below it today. We've come back above it. We are now inside the opening range for the month, but we're still below the opening range for the year on the pound dollar. For the year, we are 93 pips below the yearly open. And if you notice, we've got a lot of inside bar action here as far as the pound dollar. We are inside the weekly inside bar of last week and the monthly inside bar of last month. We're below the daily inside bar by 37 pips. That happened 7 days ago. So for all you inside bar traders, there's going to be some action this month. We had red news today, but we only have 3 pairs over 100 in range. And the euro's clocking in at a minuscule 41 pips, and the pound's almost twice that at 80. On the buy zone, you see you got one entry here during the Asian session, and price has just been above it ever since then. The red rats have feasted today. You can see here we started after we put in the move to the upside. You can see price drop down, and this candle here is that news candle. And so red rats look like you might be ready to feast again. And notice the smart rat zones are actually outside of the normal rat zones. What that means is that the price has been moving off the high and off the low by more than the normal 20 pips. If you remember last year, we actually had the rat zone put down to 15 pips because of the price compression of range, but you can see range is starting to expand once again. Pivot trading plan below the daily pivot, near the pivot bias is short. That only worked out a couple of times here. Bambino Flex indicator says to look for shorts, basically to be short. But we've had an up day. So you can have your plan, but you also need to have your stop loss. But it said bias is short near R1. As you can see, it crossed above it, but for these 2 hours here, it did not hold. So any shorts at R1 definitely would have paid off. For the monthly, we still have not hit the pivot. For the weekly, we have hit the pivot, and we took out the pivot for the daily. Wick zones, inside the lower, and then boom, out, never to return. And we look at the smart ranges here for, this is for the month, but let's shift this back to the week. Weekly. So this week we had an ATR of 270, but the actual range was only 221, which is at the 33 percentile. And last week we had 220 at the 25 percentile. Remember, we're only checking the last 4 weeks. So that's why these numbers, these percentiles, is such a jump from by 1 pip. Just because we've only got 12 in the bucket. And so where does the current range fit within those 12. High minus previous high, we didn't break out. Previous low minus low, only a 5 pip breakout. So you can see here, once again, we just pretty much stayed within the range this week. High minus close 148, 50 percentile. Close minus low 73, 25 percentile. So what that's telling me is, you can see moving off the bottom, it's moving a lot less than it's moving off the top. So you have to be aware of that. Open minus the low, only 23 pips. High minus open, 198. Once again, we had a big move to the upside and then push back down. So rats and buy zone traders or weekly crossover traders were rewarded. On the simple price action screen, I think I may have mentioned before in yesterday's video, one of the things, if you want to stop making mistakes, one of the things to look at is, where am I starting my trade at? Am I starting at an extreme area, either at the top side extreme or bottom side extreme, or am I in the middle where I can get chopped up? So I put it on H4 because you can pretty much see how these sessions play out. You know, the first couple of bars in a day, that would be the Asian, and the next two call it London, the next two call it New York, even though there are some overlapping, and that's not the true zones. But by just looking at each two H4 bars, you can kind of see what's going on. And so you can see here, you were at this low, and it'd be really simple to say, well, because actually I saw this happen. I was sitting in a parking lot looking at my phone. I had some errands to run and meetings to attend to yesterday after trading in the morning, but I was looking at this and I was going, I'm really thinking we're at the 25. It's either going to go to 50 or down to the double low. But I go, no, I'm not really trading now, so I won't put the trade on. But you can see here, that would have paid off nicely. I would have come back in a couple of hours, possibly, and made some money. So just know where you are when you place that trade, because if you're stuck somewhere in the middle, it just might go against you. So, but if you're down here, well, if it breaks this, maybe I can put a small stop loss, 10 pip or 20 pip right here. Ditto for here. But once again, if you look here on this particular bar, why isn't it giving me the high is 47? So right here, you may have stopped out if this price would have continued, because you're thinking if it's at 47, it's probably going to go to 75 or the double low. Which one is it when you're trading using those lines? Then, but as we normally trade, we get down to, say, I like to use the M30 now, and we're looking at, every 10 pips or so. You can see the price action, once again, based on the ranges, cuts across those lines. Just, take the profit when you can. Using the 3-level ZZ with the resistance and support lines put in, also with higher lows and lower highs. One of the things I was trading earlier before I was making the video, I kept buying at 75 because it's psychological, and because it was coming, it didn't hit the 50 when it came down, and so it came up. There was a 2 ball, there was a 1 ball, and then it put in, and even though it was trending down this way, that 2 ball overrides. So we go from 2 to 2, and I was just taking these for, anywhere from 2 to 3 pip gains, just going in, taking what the market gives me, usually in under a minute, hopefully under a minute, because I don't like sitting in trades, because if I'm sitting in a trade, that usually means it's in drawdown, not profit. So now, we're going to take a look here at the range by month. So far, We've got 164 pips for the month of March. And if we look at the ATR, you can see it's 626, so we've got a lot of room to go. And I was thinking, it's like, there's something, why didn't I put something in here? So right before I had that thought, because I was, checking the video, make sure everything was working, because I want to start using, talk about the euro a little bit. I go, why didn't I have ATR percent? So I popped that code in really quick. And so you can see here, January we were about 96% of the ATR, February 76, and so far in March only 26. So you can see there's some months that were over the ATR, where basically you just divide the current range by the ATR, or that monthly range by the that ATR for the month, to get your percentage. And so I added that. So I will be sending that out to the 2022 donators. And let's see, we also like to look at the year-to-date accumulated range. You can see we have not made any more ranges. Remember, this month was an inside bar. So far, we're still inside. So we haven't added to the range. But you can see here, usually by March, we're somewhere around 700. And that's only not been true one time. So look for price to extend that range, either to the upside, the downside, or both. So, Freddie, let me do some run through some charts for you here. So we're going to take a quick look at the euro. So the euro here on the monthly, you can see it's pretty much in the body of the previous month. Previous month wasn't an inside bar, so right now we're sitting as an inside bar. Take a look at the weekly. The weekly gap filled, 74 pips off the high, 74 pips above the open, 69 off the high, 90 above the low. And you can see here we popped out of the opening range for the week, and the opening range for the month is where? Do we have an overlap here? This is, oh, here's the high for the month, here's the low for the month. So we're still within the opening range for the month, and we're below the opening range for the year. And we are, for the week, we are above the opening range for the week. So Freddie, you can play these breakouts here, simple horizontal line trades. Euro 75 pips below the monthly open. The euro inside bar from yesterday and from 10 weeks ago. You can see only 41 pips of range. Not much happening there. The buy zone, you actually had a chance to play that weekly or the daily crossover trade. And I'm pretty much running out of the fastest 15 minutes, but I will go ahead and display the year-to-date accumulated range here for you. So, fellow traders, I hope you have had a profitable week and month so far, since we started March on Wednesday. And I'm going to wish you a fun and safe weekend. And traders, when you come back to your trading platform, doesn't matter if you're trading a euro or if you're trading a pound, or if you're trading something else, because it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is TheRumpledOne, over and out.